I'm going to start this problem by finding the magnitude of vector u. We've talked about this in some of the other problems where I can just go from the component form to find the magnitude. I'll start with -2. So you have a choice here. You can say -2 squared plus -3 squared, whoops, squared, not cubed, and you can put that in parentheses. What I like to do is realize that, hey, -2, if I am drawing my triangle for my Pythagorean theorem, that is just going to be a length of 2 squared plus a length of 3 squared. It gets rid of the parentheses and the negatives because I know that when I square a negative, I am going to get a positive. 2 squared plus 3 squared, so that's 4 plus 9, which is 13. My final step, I'm wanting an exact answer, is it's going to be the square root of 13 because on the Pythagorean theorem, I would take the square root as the last step. On the next problem, I'm going to skip the negative part. I'm going to say, okay, this is a -8 in direction, but remember it's an 8, positive 8 in length. 8 squared plus 4 squared. That is 64 plus 16, which is the square root of 80. My next step is to add the vectors u and n together. So I'm going to start with my horizontal coordinates, which -2 plus -8 is -10. Then I'm going to go with my vertical coordinates, which is -3 plus 4 is 1. So my vector is -10, 1. When I do the Pythagorean theorem with that, 10 squared plus 1 squared is going to be 101. Now, for those of you who are into thinking, let's think about this. I didn't ask you to give exact lengths, but if you were to type this in your calculator, the square root of 13 is 3.6. The square root of 80 is 8.9. When I combine those two together, I'm going to get about 12.5 in length. Now, I know that the square root of 101 is pretty close to 100. It's going to be about 10. Why don't those add up? So, let's think about it. The reason they're not going to add up is because, remember, we're finding this is the long way, okay? I'm going to draw it over here. So -2, 3. If I start here, -2 and -3 is about like this, okay? Now, I am just giving roundabout answers. These are not perfect. It's not a graph. Then -8, 4 is saying I'm going backwards 8, up 4. It's something like this. So basically it's saying, hey, I went 3.6 in this direction, and I went 8.9 in this direction. But when I add them together, the question is saying basically, as the crow flies, how far did I go? Well, I went about 10. So these two right here should have a longer length than the final answer. That's why they don't add up. The square root of 13 and the square root of 80 do not add up to the square root of 101.